In the community of Long Branch, New Jersey, at 755 Ocean Avenue, there is a Catholic retreat house. San Alfonso's has been used as a retreat house since 1920, when it was a vacation house purchased by the Redemptorist community. They continue to operate it today. The Redemptorists were founded in 1732 by St. Alphonsus Liguori. The congregation is made up of priests and vowed religious brothers. There are approximately 500 Redemptorists working in the North Americas and Mexico. Today is the 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings today offer a series of scriptural passages that lead to the Eucharist. Today we hear of events that prefigure the institution of the Eucharist by Jesus. They call us to observe what is happening in the Old Testament and the New, asking us how our connection to Jesus through the Eucharist is manifest in our daily lives. A large portion of San Alfonso Retreat House is made up of a series of hallways. Walking down one of the long corridors, one passes a seemingly endless series of doors on either side. They are mostly bedrooms used by the 12,000 retreat attendees who visit throughout the year. If a room is unoccupied, the door is open. Inside, there is a bed, a small table and chair, a space to hang one or two items, and a sink. It is possible to stretch one's arms out and touch both sides of the room. The Redemptorist staff who live at San Alfonso's live in small rooms similar to the retreat rooms. One of those Redemptorists was known as Brother Bernie. In the first reading, an unnamed man brings bread to Elijah, who directs that it be given to the people to eat. In this event, we witness a miracle of abundance through the action of God. The point of the story is to demonstrate how God can use people who are dedicated to Him to be the conduit through which God makes wonders happen. Brother Bernie was such a man. He became a brother at the age of 23. And when people asked him why he didn't go on to be a priest, he would answer, "Because I wanted to be a brother." Brother Bernie was a quiet man, seldom offering to speak first. He worked in the background. He was on the staff of a parish in Brooklyn, New York, and then served as the assistant to the provincial superior of the Redemptorists. Then he spent 34 years working and living at San Alfonso Retreat House. In the second reading, Paul encourages the church in Ephesus to live up to the call that they have received, being humble, gentle, and patient. He writes that their attitude of love and actions of peace will reflect the unity of the Trinity, providing an example to all through their lived life. Brother Bernie lived the example that Paul describes to the Ephesians. People who attend a retreat at San Alfonso's begin their time by registering. Brother Bernie was always in charge of the registration desk. He was the first person that each attendee met. He assigned rooms, took payments, and checked off his checklist. Attendees would then see him again at chapel services. Always he sat in the same chair in the back of the chapel. Sometimes he assisted the priest at Mass. He always prepared the space for the next service. In the evenings, he often appeared in the cafeteria after hours when juice and cookies were available. He would join the small groups who gathered there, laughing when they laughed, but mostly listening. He was seemingly always in the room that you were in. In the gospel today, we hear John's version of the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus takes the meager portions of bread and fish, and after he thanked his Father for them, fed everyone, collecting enough scraps to fill 12 baskets. In this scene, we see Jesus acting directly with the people to demonstrate God's connection and care for those who follow him. The thing that was so engaging about Brother Bernie was, well, Brother Bernie. Everyone who encountered him liked him. Everyone wanted to be around him. Everyone wanted his attention and approval. It wasn't so much what he did, it was who he was. He didn't speak much. He didn't lead conferences. He didn't give advice. He just was. In the readings today, we see bread being used as God's instrument. God uses it through Elijah to feed 100. Then Jesus connects directly to the people through the multiplication of the bread. Jesus uses the bread to feed the people who came to hear him. It says to us that our connection to Jesus through the Eucharist is a connection that not only feeds us physically, it is a connection that feeds our souls. In Elijah's case, God's bread comes to the people through the action of Elijah, the man of God. In a similar way, Brother Bernie acted as God's servant, ministering to the thousands who attended the San Alfonso Retreat Center. Brother Bernie acted as God's living bread. The connection that we can consider today is whether we who receive the Eucharist here each week, encountering the risen Jesus in person, whether we are transformed by that encounter. Do we become living Eucharist for all to witness, experience, and learn from? Is our life such an example that it draws people to Jesus simply by our being present? Brother Bernie lived up to that calling. Brother Bernie followed Jesus throughout his life. His quiet testimony of service, friendship, and love made a lasting memory and an example for thousands. He died in his 90th year during the COVID pandemic. Today, he lives with the Jesus that he served in life. The readings today, Brother Bernie's example, and our connection to the Eucharist asks us to consider our connection to Jesus and the extent to which the action of our lives calls all others to him.